and welcome to the Sisters of the Shire Podcast. I'm Abby, and with me is my amazing co-host Ashley, and we are so excited to dive into the unfinished tales this season, a collection of stories that were left on the cutting room floor, as we like to say, but will still deepen the wonderful, wonderful world, it's hard to say, that we all know and love, Middle-earth.
To our loyal listeners, welcome back. We're so grateful for your continued support. Thank you for being amazing and sticking with us. And if you're new here, welcome. Be sure to start from the very beginning, though, of the season so you don't miss any of the fun. Now, if you've read the Unfinished Tales before, like me, awesome. But if you haven't, please don't let that intimidate you, as Abby is diving into them for the first time as well. So I'll be sure to make it easy and simple to follow along with.
So whether you're on the go, maybe in your car driving to work, or you're washing dishes or folding laundry, or wherever you listen, in your cozy own hobbit hole, join us for this epic journey through the Unfinished Tales.
Let's go!
Let's go! So first order of business, I fixed my microphone so I sound better.
Yay!
I'm sorry, everyone. I fixed it.
Second order of business, I am literally editing the episode that's going before this, and I don't know what is with the editing platform. I'm going to miss one is what I'm saying. And it sounds either like snoring. Did you get my Marco Polo about this?
Snoring?
Oh
no.
You Marco Polo about this. So literally the way that I have it edit the quality, sometimes when I get really, I'm getting amped up in the story and I take a deep breath, it like makes the fast speed. So it somehow sounds like a combination of like a fart / snore / I don't know what. And I'm just going to say, neither of those things are happening. I am breathing, y'all. And
Ashley has a problem.
Like I'm going through and trying to find all of them, but I know I'm going to miss one, and it's going to sound like I'm farting on air repeatedly.
So she wants to get ahead of the rumors.
Yes. So if you listened, so that episode is going to come out before this one. So if you listen to that one and we're like, that was a weird, strange sound that I heard, I am aware. I'm trying to fix it on the things. It is not me. Editing
That's what they all say. It was the chair, I swear.
Hey, you had the noisy chair last year.
It's true. Now I don't have a noisy chair anymore.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for everybody for just sticking around and still loving us, even though we had awful luck with what was going on with all of our recording platforms. And hopefully you guys watch the video explaining it on our Instagram. Just we won't get into it here too much because we want to get into the episode because we haven't done this in so long. But it was such a headache. It was lots of running around, getting, what is it called? Like getting the runaround.
Yeah.
Like telling to do this. Oh, that didn't work. Well, go back and do this. It's like, that's not helping either.
Yeah. So we tried other platforms and those weren't working out either. And so it just was a big headache. And I apologize that it took so long.
Headache. Oh. Yes, it was a big headache. So we're back.
Still here.
Hopefully we have yes. Hopefully this will be good for a while, that we don't have to take an extended break like we did last time. But we did have a good holiday season with our families.
Yes.
And I hope you guys did too.
Yeah.
I have to post a picture. Did you get yours yet? Your crochet?
No, not yet. No, she burnt out. Like she did so many stat orders before Christmas, and then she's like, I need a minute. I'm like, that's fine. Take your time.
Yeah. Ashley got me the coolest gift, and she asked me a few months ago, like, if I were to be a certain, not like necessarily a race in Middle Earth, but just kind of like if I were a human person, where would I be in Middle Earth? And I said Gondor. So she had, on Christmas Day, I opened up a package that had a cute little crocheted version of me with like Gondor armor and like a little sword.
And a helmet and a shield. And
I know. And it has the little like tree on her chest, and oh my gosh, it's so cute. Shout out to
like
who
wire
made
in
this?
it. Amaya, who is at my coworker. She is amazing, and I love her. And yeah, she made Lizzie a little custom Ravenclaw request for a head wig. So a head wig with like a Ravenclaw scarf. Usually it comes with like a Gryffindor scarf because it's Harry's, but she wanted a Ravenclaw head wig. And Amaya said, "You got it."
And the little sword has wire in it, so I can like bend it so it stays straight, and even has my hair color, and it's very, very cute. I will have to take a picture to put on our Instagram, and Ashley's getting one too. Yes. Hers is Rohan.
Which is so funny that it's so funny that we both. So I love Rohan and you love Gondor, but Abby, what is your favorite color?
Green.
And what is my favorite color?
Blue? Is it blue?
Yeah, it's blue. So it's just like, I was like trying to explain, like, it seems counterintuitive, but it's how it goes.
Yeah. They're cute regardless. They're very well done. Thank you to the wonderful artist who made it for me. I love it. And thank you to Ashley for getting it for me. It's so cute. It's sitting on my shelf next to all my little Tolkien books. It's so cute. Yay. So let's just dive right in. I haven't done this in a while.
I know. I was going to say, how much do you remember? Because I literally had to like... Okay. Yeah. So I can handle the recap if you would like.
Okay.
So remember we were with Turin, or Turin as we're calling him, because he's a bit of a turd right now. Beleg had just left, and things aren't looking too great for Turin and his band of outlaws. It's cold and wet and miserable outside, and the orcs are constantly on their tail, or I'm sure there's other menfolk that are in the villages that they're stealing from that are like after him too. So Turin's starting to think, maybe this whole wild outlaw thing isn't as glorious as it seemed at first. So he happens to be hiding in a holly thicket with his outlaws when three mysterious hooded figures carrying big sacks kind of come across their path. And naturally, Turin's gang chases them down. And after a bit of chaos and some biting even, they manage to capture one.
What? Biting? Why they got the bite? Are they toddlers?
Well, I mean, you use what you got. So they managed to capture one because he's kind of got a bigger sack and he seems older. The other two managed to escape, but Androg, jerkface Androg, does manage to shoot a few arrows their way, but they escape. So, surprise, it's not an orc, but a grumpy old dwarf named, do you remember his name?
I remember it only because of the sound bite in my head that I made up for him.
Oh.
Because he has such a funny name that I automatically went to, some call me Mim.
Mim? See, you go there and I go, Madam Mim.
No. Exactly. So it's like, in both instances, he's a crazy person.
Yeah. It's actually pronounced meme, but it's spelled mim. So it's one of those Tolkien names that you have to kind of think in two different ways.
I know, but when I remembered in my brain, that's how I remembered. Yeah. Like, some call me meme.
So Meme dramatically begs for his life. He's on his knees, he's hugging Turin's legs and spare me, spare me. And Turin's like, well, you got to have a house around here somewhere, right? Show us where you live and we won't kill you. And Meme isn't like thrilled about it, but he's like, I guess if I can live, then I guess. So things get a little tense. Androg has some trust issues with Meme, and he keeps like threatening him. But Turin's like, hey, stop it. If Meme is being honest and trustworthy, then, we're going to let him keep his end of the bargain. Just leave him alone. As long as he's being good, you be good. Okay? Okay? So Meme reveals that his home is on a hilltop called Amanruth, and it's one of those R-U-D-H. So the D-H is a T-H, so Ruth. And it's a hill that they've seen before, but they've never dared climb it because it's just like really steep and really high. But with Meme leading the way, they start, going up there. Androg's grumbling the whole way because it's Androg. And, they do realize it's pretty tricky to climb. Meme had even made the comment that, you stumbling men won't be able to make the climb yourself. And it's like, well, yeah, we probably could have made it by ourselves.
Wouldn't you feel like they're more agile than a dwarf, though? I don't know. Just me.
I don't know. They get to a point kind of towards the top, and it's like a sheer rock wall. And Turin's like, wait, is this it? And then Meme's like, actually, ta-da! And it's like a hidden cleft. And I use the analogy of the labyrinth when it's like a wall that's not a wall, just from the perspective. Uh-huh. So they follow him through, and they, declare it the House of Ransom now. And Meme's going to lead them through the house. And Turin's like, hold on, let's be cautious here. And so they go into the dark, and Androg's still muttering about how much he doesn't trust Meme. And Turin's like, well, let's just give him a chance. And so I literally left you last week in the dark in this cave. This is like the fourth time I've done this. On this podcast.
You left me in a dark cave a lot.
Yes. So
you like leave me in there and you're like, well, until next time. And you turn off the lights and I'm like, okay, we'll see you next time, I guess. And this time you left me in there for 2 months and I didn't know when you'd be back.
Well, yeah, I did. So continuing from there, I'm going to leave you a little bit of a light here, because as Meme enters the cave further, I didn't know. Did you know that the original inventors of the clap-on, clap-off light were actually the petty dwarves? Do you remember the clap-on, clap-off light?
Yes.
Remember those old commercials?
So they have magical lights that you can clap and they turn on and off?
No, but so he like enters the cave and he claps his hands and lights suddenly come on, but it's actually just like another dwarf in the cave that comes with a torch. But the way that it's written, it's just like, and Meme clapped his hands and suddenly there was light. Like, clap on, clap off light.
Maybe
you don't remember what, or
yeah, I do.
Remember what those are. If you weren't born in the 1900s like us old timers, it's not really worth explaining. But I actually did have a clap on, clap off light, and I loved it at one point.
Did they have to practice? He's like, okay, other dwarf, I'm going to clap and I'm going to make it look like magic, but you have to get the timing right of lighting the torch. Okay? We've practiced this, Jerry. You need to do it right. I need to look powerful in front of these men.
He actually has a funnier name than Jerry, but you're going to find it later. So, so now we know that there are two dwarfs here. And the first thing that Jerkface Androg thinks to say is, ha, I missed him as I feared. Like, he's right there, dude. Like,
I didn't kill him like I wanted to.
Yeah.
Like, he's right there.
No filter on Androg.
Yeah. Turin's like, dude, read the room. Like, that's not cool.
So things are about to get real awkward. Meme and this other dwarf quickly talk together in their own language. And I'm sure Turin and other guys were kind of like trying to like pretend to eavesdrop, but they can't. All of a sudden, Meme looks, I'll use the word distressed, and then quickly continues onto the passage and just like leaves the outlaws behind in the dark.
Okay.
So just to stay on the same jerk face road that he's on, Androg just like this has to be some kind of a trick or a trap. And he's like, attack first. There may be a hive of them, but they are small. Like, we could take them all.
And Turin says again, dude, I just stop it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like, come on.
You calm down.
Don't
make me take away your sword. So he's all ready to attack, but Turin's more apprehensive. And he's like, I think there's only actually 3 of them, so let's just calm down. Turin cautiously leads the outlaws along the passage in the dark because, like I said, the dwarf that had the torch just left them behind. Quote, the outlaws groped along the passage by the feel of the rough walls. Many times it bent this way and that at sharp angles. But at last a faint light gleamed ahead, and they came into a small but lofty hall, dim lit by lamps hanging down out of the roof shadow upon fine chains.
Ooh, fancy.
Yeah. So when I think of a hall, I think of like a Viking hall or something, but we're like deep in a cave. So this is kind of hard for me to imagine, but I'm putting a Viking hall into a cave right now and just making it work.
Hey, they made beautiful things in their caves. The dwarfs did.
They did. But I just thought of this. Most of I guess not all of them. I keep thinking of Durin's house in the Rings of Power, how like the ceilings were really low and like Elrond like kept having to like bend over and stuff. But like this sounds like there's like really high ceilings. I wonder why they did that. Other than for light, maybe, so that like lamps hanging down when it like hit their heads. But So, as they get to this hall, they don't see Meme anywhere, but they can still hear his voice. So, Turin's kind of like looking around and he notices a door at the back of the hall. Quote, looking in, he saw Meme kneeling on the floor. Beside him stood silent the dwarf with the torch. But on a stone couch by the further wall, there lay another. Keem, the old dwarf wailed, tearing at his beard.
Oh no.
Tearing at the beard. I do not, weird thing. Like when I'm crying, I don't pull up my hair, but whatever. So this is where things get awkward because Turin sees this dwarf lying there on a couch, which is a funny stone couch, isn't 2 words I'd put together, but whatever. Meme is crying and wailing in grief. Like it doesn't say what condition the dwarf laying on the couch is, but you got to assume it's bad. And Turin is kind of putting 2 to 2 together, and he tells Androg, not all your shafts went wild.
Oh no.
And I can just like imagine the look on Androg's face as he like takes him a minute to figure it out. He's like, oh.
Ooh, my bad, guys. My bad.
Yeah.
That's on me.
And Turin even rebukes Androg, saying, quote, but this may prove an ill hit. You loose shaft too lightly, but you may not live long enough to learn wisdom.
He shouldn't have been alive this long anyway.
I agree. And like the way that it sounds, like I wonder if Meme just like had killed Androg right then and there, if Turin would have like tried stopping him or been like, yeah, valid. I agree. Like,
okay,
I'll allow it. But here's where Turin shows more of his like elf upbringing rather than his outlaw side. He shows compassion to Meme, saying, quote, what is the trouble, Meme? I have some healing arts. Can I give you aid?
I got a Band-Aid.
What's wrong?
Do you need a Band-Aid?
Yeah. Like, I get that his options were like kind of limited on what to say, but part of me wants Meme to answer like, what do you think the trouble is? Like, obviously,
stomachache.
like I could, yeah. Like, I'm sure, like, it doesn't say this, but, like, he probably has, like, an arrow protruding from him. Like, I wonder what happened, Turin. Like,
Yeah.
and, like, Androck, like, hides his bow.
It's like, oh.
But instead, Meme turns to Turin, and apparently, I'm not sure why Tolkien had to mention this, there was a red light in his eyes.
Of rage.
And then he says, quote, not unless you can turn back time and then cut off the cruel hands of your men. This is my son, pierced by an arrow. Now he is beyond speech. He died at sunset. Your bonds held me from healing him.
Oh, man.
Yeah, not so good. Not only did they shoot the arrow, but then they kept him prisoner. So even if he could have helped him, he couldn't. So yeah, that's not looking too good.
Not great.
Not great. But I can also just see Turin and all the other outlaws just staring at Androck again, being like, see what you did?
Yeah.
Look what you did, you little jerk.
Yeah.
Poor Meme. I mean, I do feel bad for Meme, though. Like, to lose his son, to have been, like, close by and not to have been able there to, like, say goodbye or try and help because these stupid outlaws were holding you captive for no good reason, really. Like, what reason did they have for holding him captive? Like, we're just threatening him with his life because they could.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I do find Turin's response interesting, though. Like, some men might have shown no remorse or pity. Like, I could see Androck being like, he got what he got. The world sucks. Get over it. You know, kind of
scared me.
Yeah. Or, like, maybe going the complete opposite direction, like shown pity and remorse to the point of weakness, you know, like crying, begging, hands on knees for forgiveness, maybe kind of like Meme did. So I want to know what you think of his response. So Turin says, well, it says about Turin, pity long hardened, welled in Turin's heart as water from rock. Alas, he said, I would recall that shaft if I could. Now, I practice this. Bar en Danwith, house of ransom, shall this be called in truth. For whether we dwell here or no, I will hold myself in your debt. And if ever I come to any wealth, I will pay you a ransom of heavy gold for your son in token of sorrow, though it gladden your heart no more.
I mean, he's trying at least. At least he's not like,
Yeah.
So he's not being heartless.
He's not heartless. He's not cold. There's definitely pity and remorse. There even is like a almost grown up. I feel like this is a very mature thing that, you know, understanding that nothing will make up for Meme's loss, but he wants to make the effort anyway. I feel like that's very mature. But somehow Meme ransomed his life for his house, and now Turin is ransoming his future wealth for Meme's grief. So, like, at what point is the ransom like? How do you quantify someone's grief or the price of a life? You know, like, at what point does the ransom be paid at that point? I don't like. Meme could just be really spiteful and be like, that's not enough. More.
Yeah. Very realistic. Could happen.
Yeah. So Meme could have answered very spitefully here, like I said, and I think it would have been completely valid. But instead, quote, then Meme rose and looked long at Turin. I hear you, he said. You speak like a dwarf lord of old, and at that I marvel. Now my heart is cooled, though it is not glad. My own ransom I will pay, therefore. You may dwell here if you will, but this I will add. He that loosed the shaft shall break his bow and his arrows and lay them at my son's feet, and he shall never take arrow nor bear bow again. If he does, he shall die by it. That curse I lay on him.
Oh, that's a big thing.
Yeah. Definitely not in the Silmarillion as well. Androck doesn't even exist in the Silmarillion. I'm not sure if I've mentioned that. So this whole moment here is very... I like it. I wish they would have kept it in the Silmarillion. But it's another moment where I can just see everyone just staring at Androck again. Like,
you ruined it again, man.
Yeah. But, like, what do you think Androck is going to do? Like, he might not think so. Like, he doesn't think it's wrong. But it's been kind of decided that what he did wasn't cool. And
not cool, man.
Not cool. And we learned last episode, if you remember, that Androck is kind of one of those suspicious types. I feel like he's one of those guys that's like, oh no, like a cat crossed our path. That means bad things. Oh no, a woman's on the boat. That means that's a bad omen. You know, one of those guys. So the fact that he was just cursed.
I'm not superstitious. I'm just a little stitious.
Yeah. So the fact that he was just cursed, like, it's either going to piss him off or freak him out. And turns out it's kind of both.
It's like, I've said this before, they're giving the vibe of the pirates on the Black Pearl or whatever,
Yep.
where they're like all gross, whatever. And then like whenever it mentions of like the curse and they're like, they like freak out.
Yeah. So, quote, Androck was afraid when he heard of this curse, and though he did so with great grudge, he broke his bow and his arrows and laid them at the dead dwarf's feet. But as he came out from the chamber, he glanced evilly at Meme and muttered, "The curse of a dwarf never dies, they say, but a man's too, may I come home. May he die with a dart in his throat."
Ooh. Not the best thing to say.
Like, that's your, like, roommate right now. Like, that's, you're just making things all more awkward. Like, like I said, this scene is not mentioned in the Silmarillion. I mean, parts of it are, but this whole, like, thing between Androck and the curse. So we do have a footnote from Christopher here, because this does have a bit of foreshadowing. Quote, Androck's curse is also recorded in the form, quote, may he lack a bow at need ere his end, which is also interesting. And if you know the future, because we have read the Silmarillion, Meme does die by Hurin's sword later. So I'm not sure why a bow would have helped him in that situation. One of those things that, like, he had one idea and then went another way. So, interesting. Yeah. Anyways, the outlaws stay in the caves of the House of Ransom for the night, but apparently, I don't know why this is funny to me. Tolkien wants it noted that the crying and wailing of Meme, and we find out the dwarf that was holding the torch is his other son, and his name, are you ready for it? It's not Jerry.
Okay. Dang it.
Eboon. His name is Eboon. Eboon.
Uh-huh.
I-B-U-N, but it's pronounced Eboon.
Can I say that these petty dwarves don't have that like pull of like those dwarf sounding names, you know, like Thorin and Thror and like these like yeah.
Bomber.
Meme.
You gotta wonder too. I wonder, it won't say, but if Keem was the second, or like was the firstborn or the secondborn, because like there's Meme and then there's Keem and then Eboon. Like there's so many more places you could have gone with that. Like Meme, Keem, Leem. And I like that it does kind of echo a bit of the tradition of the dwarves of like making names sound similar. I do like that. But Eboon, I got nothing for Eboon. So anyway, apparently their crying and wailing didn't help the outlaws sleep very well.
How dare they? I mean,
kind of petty to me. I mean, petty dwarfs, but like, could you keep your grief down, please? I'm trying to sleep.
Could you cry a little more quiet, please, over your dead son, please? I need at least
that was our fault.
10 hours of beauty sleep, please.
So the outlaws don't know exactly how long the crying and wailing lasted, because eventually they must have stopped because the outlaws were able to sleep. And in the morning, they woke to find the dwarves gone. So the outlaws start making themselves comfortable in their new home. They use the pool to wash in, they make some breakfast, and then kind of out of the blue, Mime is just standing there in front of them. And he bows to Turin and he says, quote, "He is gone and all is done. He lies with his fathers. Now we turn to such life as is left, though the days before us may be short."
Sad. Mm-hmm. It's just a dad who misses his kid.
Mm-hmm. So we're assuming that Mime and Ibun must have left the caves to put Keen to rest in their way. And I've never really thought about dwarf burial customs before, but it does make sense that I kind of, from my research, I was able to find that they bury their dead in stone rather than dirt, which makes sense. So I assume they either found like a separate cave and kind of sealed it in with a rock, maybe wrote like a rune or something on it, or made a cairn for him. So like where you just basically pile rocks on top of the body. So I just thought that was an interesting, like, wonder how they got rid of the body. But anyways, does not go into detail. I just speculate using the information I've given. But then Mime just kind of continues and he says, quote, "Does Mime's home please you? Is the ransom paid and accepted?" Like, anyways, like, how you like in a house.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I can't really decide Mime's personality throughout this tale because, you know, when I first read the Silmarillion version, I think I brought this up before, you know, I read him as like sympathetic and humble and you just feel really bad for him. But by the end, you know, with how things end up going down, that completely gets thrown out the window. So I can't help but read some of his words like in a sarcastic way.
So he's like, probably not in the best mood right now. So he's probably like,
right. Does Mime's home please you? Yeah. Is there anything else I can get for you, my lord? You know,
child murderer. I mean,
yeah. So like it's funny with that I have that perspective because I'm sure like if you were just hearing about this for the first time, you'd be like, oh, he's being so nice, like he's trying to fulfill his end of the bargain. But yeah. Turin only responds with "it is," which, you know, could be a nice like response to a nice tone or a sarcastic tone too. I guess I'll never know. So Mime invites the outlaws. He says, yeah, use my house is your house. Use whatever you want. But there is one chamber that is off limits. No one can open that but me. Which
mystery.
Yeah. And does it ever explain what's behind the mystery? No, it does not.
Come on, Tolkien. Come on.
I know. And then as if there's not enough mystery, there's going to be a mystery later, too, that I'm like, you just left us with so many questions. And Turin doesn't question the mystery room either.
He's like typing away. He's like typing away or like writing away. He's like, ha 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 ha. They'll never know. Ha 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 ha.
So Turin isn't worried about the mystery room. He's starting to wonder, so, okay, we're pretty good now on supplies and food, but we're going to need more later. And Mime had to lead us here. So how are we going to get in and out of this cave, you know, as these stumbling men that we are? So how are we going to make it back and forth if we don't know how to do that? So he's asking Mime how to do that. And quote, to their disquiet, Mime laughed in his throat. Oh.
Like,
I don't know. Yeah. He says, do you fear that you have followed a spider to the heart of his web? Meme does not eat men, and a spider could ill, or wouldn't be able to, deal with 30 wasps at a time. See, you are armed, and I stand here bare. No, we must share, you and I, house, food, and fire, and maybe other winnings. The house, I think, you will guard, and keep secret for your own good. Even when you know the ways in and out, you will learn them in time. But in the meanwhile, me must guide you, or even his son.
Okay, seems kind of like, what's he plotting?
Okay, yeah. Again, I feel like tone is very important in this situation because, like, you could just say, do you fear that you have followed a spider to the heart of his web? Like with crazy eyes. Like, you're armed and I stand here bare. Oh, it's just a, defenseless dwarf. What would I do against these big, strong men? Yeah.
I'm just a sad old dwarf.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm glad that you there's something else at work here though. But Turin just agrees and thanks Meme for his hospitality. And most of the outlaws are pretty happy with this arrangement. I mean, there are only 2 others that they now have to share with. How hard could that be? And the place definitely is better than a holly thicket in the rain. So who could possibly complain? Who's going to complain?
True.
Androg. No. Androg, of course, is going to complain.
I was going to say, that one jerk face.
Jerkface is going to complain. He says, quote, the sooner we are masters of our goings and comings, the better. Never before have we taken a prisoner with a grievance to and fro on our ventures.
He's like that trope of I don't know if it was like in Oliver, the play Oliver, or there's different tropes like that where it's like a band of orphans or street gang or whatever, and then something good starts happening, and the one guy who's a downer the whole time, he's like, yeah, well, you guys can enjoy without me. I'm not taking part of your kissing that dwarf's feet or whatever. I'm not gonna do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
very much 100%. That trope of not enjoying it because he thinks he's too cool, or I don't know, but yeah, I can see that happening.
But he does have a point though, the fact that we don't know how to get in and out is a little concerning. We don't have an escape plan, and also it's clear he might seem nice, but I can read between the lines. This dwarf hates us, especially me right now, but he also hates us. So I mean, the fact that we're now roomies.
I feel like the tension in the room is so thick. How is your stay? Do you need extra pillows? And he's doing it through clenched teeth. He's yeah, I just want to make you guys really comfortable.
Yes. But Androck's the only one that's got this hunch. The other outlaws and Turin, they just start to relax. They clean their arms. They mend their gear. I'm assuming they even probably wash their underwear for the first time in who knows how long. I mean...
Oh, gross.
Right. So... And then, it's dinner time. They start getting out their things to make dinner, and Meme even joins in. He lends them some pots, big pots for, stew, and wood for a fire. And then he brings out a sack. Now, this is the very same sack that he had been caught with, that the men had surmised to be just, quote, roots and small stones, and that Meme declared was just an old sack of roots. Yet... it was always curious that it was too precious to leave behind, because remember the outlaws offered hey, why don't we just take your sack as ransom, and then you'll come back, if you need to leave, just leave your sack. And he's like, no, I can't leave my sack. I'm like, okay, then I guess you have to stay. The fact that was not an equal trade. I can't, an option, that he wasn't willing to give up the collateral. Sack. Yeah. Was suspicious. And again, this is a non-Silmarillion thing. No mention of sacks in the Silmarillion. And we finally get to understand what was in the sack. Are you ready? Are you excited? So, as he's getting it out, Meme is still downplaying the contents.
What's in the bag?
He's still downplaying it as he says that the sack is nothing but, quote, rubbish, not worth the stealing, only wild roots. But when they were cooked, these roots proved good to eat, somewhat like bread. And the outlaws were glad of them, for they had long lacked bread, save when they could steal it.
Bread roots?
Bread roots.
Bread roots.
I don't know, you haven't played it, but there's others out there that might have played the game Shadow of Mordor. It's actually a really cool game. Although I really want to get deep into the story of it, trying to connect it with Tolkien, because I'm still confused. Because yeah, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Creative liberties.
I just can't figure out where they're starting from. Like, somehow Gollum is alive, but then Sauron is gone, but there's a new guy that's bad. I'm just confused. But this actually is part of the game. These roots, and they're called Earthbreads, and you actually can collect them. And this is what the game has to say about Earthbreads. If you were to open your I forget what they call it, your
inventory, or
your chronicles, or your oh gosh, I can't remember what they call it in that, but yeah, basically your inventory. So they call it, quote, a starchy potato-like root. Earthbread must be plucked from the ground, washed and peeled, and then cooked with salt to bring out its natural flavor. When prepared properly, its roots taste like a fine milled bread. When improperly prepared, it tastes like something far less palatable.
Ooh, yum.
Yum. And as to where it grows, because you'll hear later, this isn't your everyday thing that people come across. I found this interesting comment in a gaming forum. Okay. He was basically trying to talk about it, in the game, how do you find these things? And he says, quote, Earthbread always grows on rocks at the bottom of unclimbable hills.
Oh.
And where did they find the petty dwarves? And where are they now? Yeah, I liked that. I'm like, you just made that work for me. Thank you, random forum dude. So yeah, it seems to fit, and it's a cool little nugget that they included in the game. So yay for the game. I highly recommend it. It is a bit 300-ish with the gore. I'm just going to warn you though. Anyways. So Meme continues talking about the Earthbreads, and it leads to an interesting conversation. Sorry for the length of the quote, but you have to get it to understand the whole picture. Brace yourselves for epic quotage.
All right.
Quote, wild elves know them not. Grey elves, or Sindar elves, have not found them. The proud ones from over the sea, the Eldar, are too proud to delve, said Meme. What is their name? Said Turin. Meme looked at him sidelong. They have no name, save in the dwarf tongue, which we do not teach, he said, and we will not teach men to find them. For men are greedy and thriftless, and would not spare till all the plants had perished, whereas now they pass them by as they go blundering in the wild. No more will you learn of me, but you may have enough of my bounty, so as long as you speak fair and do not spy or steal. So I'm going to keep going, but I'm going to pause there.
Special route.
Yeah, I'm going to let you comment there. So again, spy or spy. Why would he need to spy? What secret things is Meme doing? But also, he's got a point about men being greedy and thriftless and just using them all up. He's got a point. So, continuing the quote. Then again, he laughed in his throat. They are of great worth, he said, more than gold in the hungry winter, for they may be hoarded like the nuts of a squirrel, and already we were building our store from the first that are ripe. But you are fools if you think that I would not be parted from one small load, even for the saving of my life. Referring to when he was being offered the choice of leaving the sack behind. And then one of the outlaws enters the conversation. I haven't mentioned him a ton. His name is Olrad. He says, quote, I hear you. Because Olrad, who had looked in the sack when Meme was taken, yet you would not be parted, and your words only make me wonder the more. Why are you being so suspicious? Why are you being so cryptic, man? Oh man. If you thought that Meme was being super nice and friendly, this is one of those times where oh, he's not. But wait, no, he's not. Meme Meme turned and looked at him darkly. Looked at Olrad. You are one of the fools that spring would not mourn if you perished in winter, he said. I had spoken my word, and so must have returned, willing or not, with sack or without. Let a lawless and faithless man think what he will. But I like not to be parted from my own by force of the wicked, be it no more than a shoe thong.
All right.
Then he gets even more spiteful here. Do I not remember that your hands were among those that put bonds on me, and so held me that I did not speak again with my son? Ever when I deal out the earth bread from my store, you shall be counted out. And if you eat it, you shall eat by the bounty of your fellows, not of me.
Meme holds a grudge.
Holds a grudge? And I like how he's like, I'm not going to tell you. It has no name, except that in Dwarf tongue, and then he named it later. I thought that was funny. Oh no, I gave it away!
I shouldn't have said that.
Then Meme went away, but Olrad, who had quailed under his anger, spoke to his back. High words. Nonetheless, the old rogue had other things in his sack, of like shape, but harder and heavier. Maybe there are other things besides earth bread in the wild, which elves have not found, and men must not know. More mystery. More intrigue. Who knew Meme had so many mysteries about him? And, do we get to find out the mystery of what he was talking about? Christopher talks about it a little bit in a footnote here, as he says, the mystery of the other things in Meme's sack is not explained. The only other statement on the subject is in a hastily scribbled note, which suggests that there were ingots of gold disguised as roots, and refers to Meme seeking for old treasures of a dwarf house near the flat stones, which might have been referencing the great stones leaning or tumbled together at the place where Meme was captured. But there is nowhere any indication of what part this treasure was to play in the story of the House of Ransom. So they could have been gold disguised as roots that somehow he found. But what was he going to do with that gold? No idea. You think, how would you disguise hard metal as roots? But just make them dirty, I guess. I don't know. But interesting.
Cover them in mud.
Yeah. Turin has to chastise his men again, as he says to Olrad. Nonetheless, the dwarf spoke the truth in one point at least, calling you a fool. Why must you speak your thoughts? Silence, if fair words stick in your throat, would serve all our ends better.
Everybody just calm down. Everybody just take a breath. Why is everybody getting so mad at each other? It's like someone killed somebody. Oh, yeah. Dang it, I forgot about that.
I do love this burn, though. I definitely think it's a quote that should be used more often, like those Shakespearean insults, or like it should be made into a sticker or like a shirt or something. Why must you speak your thoughts?
Why are you the way that you are?
Well, that's actually where I'm going to leave you today.
What? There's so much tension.
I know. Better than the dark, okay? At least I left you with them well fed, clean even. Now. I mean, they have a home.
There's some earth bread.
Earth bread. Mm-hmm.
Well, fine. now I really do want that Shakespearean insult something on there.
I agree. Well, thank you for joining us on this journey through Middle Earth. Don't forget to follow us at Sisters of the Shire Podcast on Instagram, where we share updates and fan art and a few memes to keep things fun. Big thank you to our patrons, Dan and Tom. Thank you for your support. It means the world to us.
It does.
If you'd like to support the podcast and become a part of our fellowship, you can check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Sisters of the Shire Podcast. For just $3 a month, you can join as an elf friend of the Shire, $7, a dwarf friend of the Shire, and $9 a month gets you in as one of our women friends of the Shire, whichever you prefer. Your support helps keep us exploring these stories, and we're so grateful. Even if you can't join the Patreon, we get it. If you're enjoying the podcast, please consider just leaving us a rating, a review. It really helps. As far as reviews, we don't have any new reviews in the 2 months that we were gone, I suppose.
I know, we're sorry.
We're sorry.
Okay.
A lot in world news, though. Canada overtook the Netherlands. Israel overtook Norway. Singapore continued to climb that ladder and is now 13th. Finland overtook Denmark. India overtook France. Let's see what else. Oh, Puerto Rico also climbing that ladder. And Nigeria and Mexico. Just shot up the ladder. Like 10 places. Japan moved up. Malaysia moved up a ton. And Hong Kong also moving up that ladder. So thank you for listening, people from those countries. We appreciate your support, and we appreciate that you listen.
Yeah, I'm excited to maybe have some more countries that we haven't seen really pretty low on this list, moving on up and getting new people from around the world that are moving up, trying to get to those top 10 spots. I see you.
Hey,
I see you.
I mean, who was it? Singapore. I mean, they showed you they're on 13th. They're so freaking close to being in top 10. I mean, if they can do it, you can do it.
We believe in you. Well, thank you to all those who listen to us. We're so happy that you guys are still here and that you continue to join us on this journey. And we hope that you share us with your friends and family, and that maybe we'll get some new friends in the new year. That would be fun for 2025. Some new friends, maybe on Patreon, maybe on Instagram.
And feel free to say hi. We're nice. We promise.
Did you get anything cool Tolkien-wise for Christmas or Hanukkah or for the New Year birthday? We want to see. I'm going to post a picture of that cute little crochet doll that Ashley gave me or had commissioned for me.
Yes.
And then Ashley will have to post hers when she gets hers.
I will. I got some random finds from Box Lunch. I got a fun new belt bag that is got the Lothlorien leaf on it, and it's got cool vines on the strap. And then I've never heard it before, but Her Universe is a thing. I got a fun new sweatshirt, and I also got it's not a Loungefly, but it's a Loungefly-esque that I've been eyeing for years. And I got it on sale for $22.
What?
I know. I was really, I can't not buy it, right?
You'll have to send me a picture.
Oh, I will.
Oh, I will. So yes, thank you to all those who've been hanging out. Oh, she's showing me. Oh, it's so cute. It's got all the little characters, but they're what's that version called? Chibi or something?
Chibi, yeah.
Chibi or something.
I also got their socks for Christmas too.
Oh, cute. Anyway, thank you all. We love you all. We're so glad we're back. Sorry we were gone so long.
Sorry.
Anyway, well, thank you for teaching me today, Ashley.
You're welcome. Until next time, I've been Ashley.
And I've been Abby, and this has been the Sisters of the Shire podcast. And we are so, so happy to be back and that you have joined us. And we hope that you can join us next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for teaching me a day.
Yay!